Hi everybody! Today I wanted to share with you a very fun and special recipe. It's a sweet dessert, or you can also have it for breakfast. I'm gonna make some Nutella rolls using puff pastry. So this is a puff pastry. You get it in the freezer section of your grocery store, and generally it comes frozen and you need to thaw it for about a day at least in the fridge, or keep it outside for 2 to 3 hours. Generally comes in, like, there are two different rolls in here. So today I'm going to show you a sweet recipe, and then in part two series I'm going to show you a savory recipe. So here we have the roll and you're going to open it out, and I'm using Nutella. So generally you can have different types of rolls, but Nutella is really yummy. I mean, you can never go wrong with that recipe. This is very simple. I mean, the ingredients wise, very less number of ingredients. It just involves a little bit of rolling around. So don't worry about that. I'll show you just how to do it. And then we have confectioner sugar that I'm going to use as kind of dusting my work surface so that the roll doesn't stick, because it's going to be sticky once it has thawed. And so we want to kind of work with it, but you don't want to use flour or corn flour or anything, because it's going to kind of change the texture or alter the flavor. So I've unrolled my sheet over here, as you can see, and just make sure that, you know, if the one you have comes with like cuts, make sure you kind of seal them back. Sprinkle a little bit of sugar on top as well, and then roll it out to make it slightly bigger. So I'm going to kind of do it, as you can see, about an inch to two on each side, so on all four sides. And so just kind of work with your fingers or a rolling pin like I have here. And so now that I have rolled it out a little bit bigger, as you can see, and you can see like it's become thinner, which is fine. If you don't want to do this, you could skip that rolling out step as well. And then here I'm going to do cuts. So one cut, kind of to divide it into two, and then three more cuts. You can also just make 6 pieces. So I made 8, but feel free to make 6 pieces. That way your rolls will be larger. So I have all the pieces down there under a damp paper towel. You want to do that just so that the dough doesn't dry out as you do this. And then as you pick up each of your piece, it's going to elongate, which is also something that we want, because I want it to be longer. So while the other pieces are resting over on the side, I'm gonna work with this one piece and show you how I do the roll. So pick it up slowly, just make sure to be careful. And like I said, it became longer. So I'm gonna put it in here and then make it longer. So I want to increase the length of this and slightly the width. So as you can see, I almost made it double. I used my hand. So work with your hands a little bit, and then with your rolling pin as well. And so you can see it's almost double in size. It's very thin now, so you want to be really careful, but don't worry about it too much. Eventually, once it rolls, once we make those rolls, it's gonna look good. So I heated up my Nutella just so that it becomes more spreadable, because Nutella, it's a heavy butter, so it's not as easy. Now if you want to make a plain version of this, you can totally do this with just doing butter and make some buttery rolls, but today I'm gonna do Nutella. So use a spatula or spoon and kind of spread out your Nutella just evenly enough over the sheet that you have. It might tear depending on how thin you have. Mine did in this, but don't worry, like once we start rolling it, it's not gonna be a problem. So take one edge and start rolling it really tightly. And it's not too difficult. As you roll this, you're gonna kind of increase the width as well. And so as you can see, the camera just shook there a little bit, but as you can see, I'm gonna keep rolling it in here, and it's easy. And the reason I use a foil is also so that it doesn't really stick to the bottom, and the cleanup is easier. So now what we're gonna do is cut it along the longer edge. So let me show you how I do that. Just hold on and cut slowly and carefully on the longer edge of this roll. Now the reason we do this is so that these layers, we see many more layers, and when I show you how we roll it into a spiral, it's just not the same with the full roll. It is much easier seen with that kind of layers that you see. So as I cut in here, you can see that Nutella is visible through the different layers. Because our sheet was so thin, you can't necessarily see all of it, but that's what kind of adds this complexity of like these multiple layers that we have here. So as you can see, I'm pulling it a little bit to make it longer, and then just roll it into like this kind of a spiral thing, pulling it as you do, but very gentle tug, and then pull onto that edge and tuck it in. So there you have it. That's our first roll, and I'm gonna do this with all the other ones just the same way, repeating. And here I wanted to show you one more piece. So this is my last piece in here. Same way, just making sure to cut it. Now, depending on how you rolled, how much you rolled, I mean, it's a pastry sheet. It's going to act kind of, it has a nature of its own, and so if it's different sizes or slightly different lengths, don't worry. Like, I mean, if you're doing this just to feed your family members, it's okay to have variations. I mean, that's the beauty of it. Also, because I did 8 pieces in here, my rolls will be smaller. Now that actually works better if you kind of want the serving size of each roll to be smaller. If you do want these rolls to be bigger, then you can definitely stick to 6 pieces of it, which comes out to 12 rolls. So again, kind of cutting my final piece here, making it slightly longer, and then tucking it and rolling it along. So all of these layers really are going to help that pastry rise up, and kind of make it will kind of double in size. So keep doing this gently, and again, if you have rips or tears as you were putting Nutella and stuff, don't worry. Once the rolls are in, it's not gonna really be visible, and it's gonna taste yummy anyways. So I put all my rolls in here in my silicone muffin pan. Now since it's silicone, I didn't butter the sides or anything like that, but if you have a metal pan, you would want to make sure that you butter. And there is still enough room for them to kind of just spread out a little bit, and even if you have slightly bigger rolls, that's fine. So I got an egg white, or an egg over here. I've beaten it with a little bit, like a teaspoon to 2 of milk, and I'm gonna brush the tops of these rolls. So just kind of doing a light brush using my pastry brush. What this will do is give that roll a nice golden brown color on top and a nice shine. I mean, that's what's gonna make this really, really looking like so beautiful and appetizing. So just make sure to brush along, especially the white edges of the roll, so where there isn't any Nutella, and also try to not get any Nutella back on the brush, so you don't want to be too kind of going in hard with your brush. So that's it. Now in the meantime, I've preheated my oven to 400°F, and I'm gonna put this pan in there for about 12 to 14 minutes, keeping an eye on it. So we'll go in there, and then all of these rolls are just gonna puff up and ready for us to eat. So let me take that in. And I had a couple of, like I was saying, extra pieces over there, which I'm gonna just use in my next recipe here. But there we go. After about 14 minutes, these are what my rolls look like. And you can see like they have kind of puffed up. They have this nice golden brown color. Each one is slightly different, again, because of the size, of the amount of Nutella, the way you rolled it. There's a lot of variation. As you can see, this one, you know, that nice golden brown color with that Nutella peeking through. And then I have this other one here where there's more of the Nutella going through. And so slowly just pull it apart, and it's so crunchy, and then you can see like the Nutella running through all those layers in there. So you can serve this for breakfast or just as a dessert, up to you. But hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.